In this week after Easter, I am sitting with the question of how do we live after a big event? And I have both a question for you and a comment that may help. Stay tuned. Hello, friends. Pastor Tim Westermeyer here, Senior Pastor of St. Philip the Deacon in the western suburbs of Minneapolis. Good to be with you as always. I am taping this in the days immediately after Easter Sunday, which means it's been a busy time here at St. Philip the Deacon and every church. And backing up even before that, it was a busy time for me and my family. I think I mentioned in the last episode, we were out in New York to visit our youngest son, who is at West Point, the United States Military Academy. So that was a big sort of milestone for him. And then we had Holy Week, and then we had Easter, which is, of course, part of Holy Week. The culmination, really, the high point of the entire church year. And now, in a few days, we're going to head out to Washington State, where I'm going to be doing the service, officiating at the service, the marriage service for my oldest son. So we have another big event coming up. And I'm sort of sitting with, I guess, even without the wedding coming up, any other year I would be sitting in the days after Easter with sort of I'll call it the PostEaster Letdown. You know, we have a whole long series or a season of Lent. We have Palm Sunday, we have Monday, Thursday, Good Friday, Easter Saturday, and Easter Sunday, which is always a wonderful, joy-filled celebration, which it was again this year. And by the way, if you were with us, I'm glad you were with us. If you joined us online, thank you for joining us online. If you did not have a chance to worship with us and are still interested in sort of participating in that service, we'll provide a link to both the service and my message from Easter. But here we are now. After all the excitement, all of the preparation has been completed, and now it's sort of back to life as usual, or it will be for us in a week. We've still got this wedding to deal with. But again, next week, this time, I'll be sitting here having experienced exactly that with the wedding service. You know, all this preparation, all this planning, all this buildup, all this excitement, and then it'll be over. And then you're sort of left with, well, now what? And I guess my message today is, well, twofold. One, that's a sort of normal rhythm of life, right? Building up to big events and then, you know, life after those big events. So the one question I would have for all of you is, how do you deal with that? Do you have practices, spiritual practices or other practices that help you kind of do a reset as you enter back into normal life after a big event? And I would, again, it's a genuine question. I'm not sure, if I'm honest, I have a good answer for that in my own life. So I would love to hear what your thoughts are. But then the other thing is a sort of, it's a quote. It turns out it's from a person. I don't know this gentleman, but I know his Instagram page. His name is Paul Bane, Bane. And he runs a page called Mindful Christianity, which I will commend to you. I very often see what he posts, and I almost always like it. Sometimes it's quotes from other people. In this case, it's his own quote, but it's related to this point of, after the big production, after the big service, the moving back into the sort of quiet, or the quieter or gentler life, where I guess I would say we still find God, right? And part of my message on Sunday was that Jesus was raised from the dead so that he can always be with us, so that he could defeat death, so that nothing can separate us from him, so that for all eternity he can say to each and every one of us, I love you. And in the context of the Easter service, that's again a big festive opportunity to reinforce that message. But after Easter, in the stillness, it turns out that God is still found there. And so, as maybe a final word, in this slightly rambling episode, as I am actually in the process of writing the sermon now for my son's wedding, so I've got all kinds of things on my mind. I will leave you with this as a kind of blessing for, not for the big days, but for the quiet, gentle days. Okay, and again, this is from this gentleman named Paul Bain. And he writes this: it runs counterclockwise to the world's wisdom that the practice of solitude and silence can quiet the mind so we can hear and discern God's words of friendship to us. In the silence, he writes, we discover God's presence is with us, and we are never alone. So I hope that is comforting to you today in these days following Easter. I'll look forward to catching up with you after the wedding. I'll report on that next week. And in the meantime, as always, be well, stay in touch, and God bless.